Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Well, it's official. Bribery is completely legal here in the United States. That became clear in the latest ruling on campaign contributions by the Supreme Court. Now, here's what Antonin Scalia said. I'm not paraphrasing. I'm not quoting exactly, but I'm paraphrasing. But basically what he said is that as long as you don't make it obvious that you're doing a quid pro quo, then there's no bribery. As long as you, and if you don't give the money directly to the person you're bribing, then there is no bribery. So here's what the Supreme Court did, was they erased the limits on how many candidates a donor could supply money to. Basically what they did was there was an aggregate limit that donors could give the maximum donation to a certain amount of candidates until it reached a certain number, and then they'd have to stop. Now that's been completely obliterated. So here's how that scam works. You make a maximum donation to a bunch of candidates in safe districts who won't need to spend that money spend much of that money because they're practically guaranteed to be elected. And since they have no chance of losing, they really do minimum advertising. They'll do some, but not by that much. They'll spend some of the money, but not very much. Now, what they can do is they can then funnel that money to other candidates that the rich person wants to bribe. And it is bribery. Let's face it, when these billionaires that are giving all this money to campaigns aren't doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing it because they want stuff. And the candidates that get elected, as we can see by the tax laws and the way just things go all around the country, they're only too happy to accommodate them. Perfect example is that if politicians were interested in doing what's right, the minimum wage would have been raised to $15 long ago. But these rich donors, they don't want the minimum raised to $15. And so the Republican Party just, even though 75% of the Republican base, 75% of Republicans are in favor of the minimum wage being raised, they're listening to the 1% that don't. The Supreme Court once used to be concerned about corruption. And that's when they upheld campaign finance limits. But the 5 conservative members of the Supreme Court that we have now, not only are they not concerned about it, they are dedicated to corrupting our democratic system as much as possible. For them, bribery is not a problem, it's a solution. This is why Clarence Thomas and Antonin Scalia, while they were hearing the Citizens United case, met with the Koch brothers and accepted money from them and made no attempt to hide it. But see, what they don't realize is that by doing rulings like this, they are bringing the day closer when the people will realize that capitalism is dead, democracy is dead. We no longer live in that situation. We live in a kleptocracy where the rich are stealing everything in sight, and our politicians and judges simply enact laws to make it legal. Unless a future Supreme Court reverses everything that this Supreme Court is doing, eventually the people of the country will have no choice but to rise up and kill the rich. The politicians who do their bidding and the judges who make it all legal. Thanks for listening.